Monolith, Tesseract Vault and Obelisk. Are they worth the points? And are they worth the money it takes to buy them? Time for a Necron Natter. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, it's time for another Necron Natter. Just a chilled chat about Necrons, and in this video we're going to cover 3 units. Now this has been inspired by a comment I had on the previous video about whether it's actually worth A, the investment, and B, the points for the Necron Monolith, the Obelisk and the Tesseract Vault. So that's the units we're going to talk about in this video. Like I said, it is a chilled chat, so I've got my cup of coffee ready, so just have a quick sip. So all of these units are actually quite expensive to buy. Having said that, there are some good deals around, in particular WarGames, my sponsor. If you go to the WarGames website, some really good deals on there. You can get good discounts. So if you hunt around, you can definitely find the units cheaper. Having said that, even with the discounts that's available, they're still fairly big investments, especially if they're not really worth it. So that's what we're going to have a chat about. So I think first of all we'll start with the Monolith. Now, when I first started playing Necrons, there was only one tank available, and that was the Monolith. It was more expensive in points wise than it is now. I believe I've got 265 points on my brain. I think it was that amount. It's now only 200 points, so it's come down in points. But over the years, with each either new edition of the main rulebook, or with the next Necron Codex that's come out, I've seen that Monolith get worse and worse in what it can do on the table, as well as the points reduction. And there's a fair few players that would actually say that the Necron Monolith just isn't worth the points, it's not really worth taking anymore. And I can understand why some people would say that. Personally, I do actually really like the Monolith. It's got 4 hull points and its armor 14, has the ability to teleport your models through. It's portable terrain to hide maybe your units behind, and of course it's got a pie template, which we're lacking quite a bit in Necrons, apart from the Doomsday Arc. So nice big pie template. It's fairly small ranged, but you can deep strike the Monolith if you want to. Yeah, okay, you can't jinx with it, but it's armor 14. It's pretty decent. It's the equivalent, obviously, of a Land Raider. And the great thing about the Monolith, as we discussed in the previous video, I was talking about you either have to have tanks or you don't have to have tanks. I think the great thing about the Monolith is you can take just one Monolith, you can have just one tank in your army, and get away with it because of the stat line that it has. It does also have small guns as well, 4 flux arcs. But of course, if you shoot that pie template, they can only snap shots. But you know, on the whole, it's actually a pretty decent tank, I believe. I like it, and 200 points is actually quite a reasonable price for what you're getting. Now, the other good thing is you can take a Monolith within the Reclamation Legion, stroke in the Decurium. So there's no limits there in terms of, well, okay, it's not in the Decurion and that's what I play, so I can't take a Monolith. You know, there's no excuse as such. So the Monolith, I personally think, is well worthwhile unit. It doesn't make it into all of my lists. I tend to bring it out more for fun, because I think ultimately it's not necessarily the ultimate unit. But for 200 points, it's not a bad choice to put down on the table. It's very useful in smaller point games. If I pay 1,000 points, getting a Monolith in there, your opponent can find that quite tough to take down. So it definitely has a place in your case as a tool to be able to use sometimes. And this is going to bring me on to the points for the next units we want to talk about, which is obviously the Obelisk and the Tesseract Vault, about the type of person that you are, the type of collector you are, the type of player that you are with Necrons. So, the reason why I want to bring that up is because I think if you're playing Necrons just because you want a 2,000 point army, maybe you're collecting it because you just want to have a go at it, try it out, see how you get on with it. Maybe you're a tournament player and you just want to take Necrons this year to your tournament, or maybe you're like me and you absolutely love Necrons. Necrons! It doesn't get much better than Necrons in 40k. We love you. We do. No, I mean, if you're a real collector of Necrons and you just love Necrons, then there's a place for any unit in your army. And I think this video, excuse me, I think this video is relevant to every army. Because every army has units which aren't necessarily worth the points, maybe expensive to buy. But if you're a true collector, if you're a true fan of that army, you will still buy that model, you'll still make a way of getting that on the table and making it work. So the Tesseract Vault, do I have one? I do have one, just the one. Incidentally, I have 2 monoliths, which I purchased because I purchased the Tesseract Vault stroke Obelisk. Now I have magnetised mine, which means I don't have to buy 2. So first of all, you can save yourself one model by magnetising it. Now I've got a link in the description to my magnetising tutorial, so go and check that out, because that's already saved you a load of money, because you can try both out with the same model. That's a great thing about magnetising. So yeah, I have one of those, and because I bought one of those, I just had it in my head that I want to play the Living Tomb formation, and that is 1 to 2 monoliths and then the Obelisk. And I thought, why not just max out on that, try a couple of monoliths. I came up with this list where I have most of my army in reserve, and then the Obelisk comes down. It does scatter, it's a risky list. If it scatters and mishaps and you roll a 1, you're dead, basically, and the army's finished. But if you scatter and you don't mishap, or you get bang on target, the monoliths come in straight away. They don't scatter within 12 inches of it, and then I can pull 2 massive squads of 20 warriors out of the monoliths, and it's such a fun list. Having said that, I've only played it once. I've only played my Tesseract Vault once, and I've not played, sorry, the Obelisk once, and I've not played the Tesseract Vault yet. Now the Tesseract Vault, out of the 3 units, I probably would say is the least best for the points, if that's English, probably not. But yeah, 550 points. You get basically an Obelisk with a Catan in there, the Transcendent Catan. It's got much better shooting. It's still random, but it makes the Transcendent Catan a lot better, basically. It's quite expensive, and I've seen a battle report where that Vault just got taken out, turn 1. I think it was a Wraith Knight with a D shot. Tesseract Vault, gone. 550 points gone. I am going to play the Vault one day, because I want to try it out and have a go with it. I think it'll be fun. But no doubt the Obelisk is probably much better points-wise, value for money, and what it does on the table. And in actual fact, the top Necron player in the Las Vegas Open 2017, as far as I'm aware, I believe this is true, he had a Living Tomb formation. Only 1 monolith, but 1 monolith and a Obelisk. So it just shows you, they definitely are workable. And I think this is it. It doesn't really matter about the unit. It doesn't matter how good or bad they are. If you like the unit, if you like the look of the unit, and you love the army, you'll make it work somehow. Every single unit in 40k is usable somehow. Yeah, I mean, Dark Eldar, Hellions, pretty bad, let's face it. But I've got a unit of Hellions, 60 points, 5 Hellions. They don't do much, but they do work in the army. They're a nice little distraction unit. I can keep them in reserve. I can flank, go up the flanks with the fast movement, and they're just generally they're not a good unit for the points, but they are usable. I think every unit is usable. Of course, we are talking about some very expensive models. I mean, if you were to walk into Games Workshop and buy a Tesseract Vault / Obelisk, I believe it's £95. So it is an expensive unit. Is it worth the money? Depends on, that's personal preference. Depends how much money you've got, and it depends on what you do with the model. I mean, in my case, I've got the Vault because I have all of the Necrons and I didn't have a Vault, so I wanted one, and I got myself one for Christmas, actually. And I think that's the other thing as well. A little hot top tip: if there are units that you think, I'm not really sure if I like them, I'm not really sure if they're going to work, I'm not really sure if they're worth the points or the money, then that's what birthdays are for, that's what Christmas are for. Tell your family and your friends, that's what I would like. Get someone else to buy it. And then if you've got it, it goes in your case, you maybe don't use it that often, then you haven't actually bought it yourself. No, seriously though, that can work actually. Ask for stuff that you wouldn't necessarily buy yourself for presents. Why not? Maybe that's a good way of getting those units that you wouldn't necessarily think of buying. I mean, I did that with my Eldar artillery things, what they called, supports, weapon support batteries. I got 2 of those for Christmas, asked for them because I'd never really bought them myself. In reality, now I've got them, I don't really use them because they don't fit into my lists that much, because most of my lists are either Samhan or they're tank orientated, so I don't tend to use the battery things unless it's a small 500 point game. I might get them out, but I love Eldar. It's nice to have those units. They are really cool units. I enjoyed painting them. I've got them in my case. I use them occasionally, but I didn't actually invest the money myself into those units, so it doesn't feel quite as bad that I haven't used them. The Tesseract Vault, on the other hand, I did buy, and even though I got it at a great price, discounted price at WarGames, go and check the website out, yeah, I've only used it once. So that's what I love about my YouTube channel, is this video, making this video has now really inspired me, really made me think, actually I need to play that model more, because I've bought it, I've painted it, built it, converted the bases, blah blah blah, all that magnetization and everything. I need to use it more. So this video has now inspired me, so I am going to get the Living Tomb formation out again. I'm going to get that Tesseract Vault out again and get some games in with it, and I'll record some battle reports as well. So, have we answered the question? I think there is no real answer to this, except for your personal choice. I would love to hear your comments on this subject in the comments box below, because everyone's got different opinions. I personally would say the Monolith, it's 200 points, it's reasonably priced for what you get. It's not actually that bad on the table. It's great mobile terrain. Hides a lot, that thing. It's 6 inches base. So I'd say yes, Monolith, it is actually worth buying one of those, and it is worth the points, and it's worth playing. I wouldn't necessarily say you'd have it on every single game, every single list, but I think you definitely would use it. The Obelisk is no doubt 100% worth it. And make sure you magnetise it, because if you don't, then if you want to play the other option, you've got to buy a whole new kit. So magnetise that gives you both options. I think you'll be playing the Obelisk more than the Tesseract Vault. The Tesseract Vault, 550 points. Is it worth it? Probably not really. It's a hefty amount of points. So I would say the Tesseract Vault probably isn't worth it. For fun games, it's worth playing. You know, it's worth a go. You probably will use it, but the Obelisk, 300 points, is definitely more manageable. So I'd just say yes for that one as well. So that's my answer. Monolith, yes. Tesseract Vault, no. Obelisk, yes. Worth the points, worth the money. It's a big kit, the Obelisk. It's an expensive kit, but it's a big kit. Yeah, so you'll have to make your own choice on that, whether you want to invest the money in it or not. Okay, I think I've nattered enough about this subject. Really looking forward to your comments. If you think there is a particular topic that you would like to see in another Necron Natter in the future, then let me know in the comments box below and we can see if we can cover those topics as well. Okay, that's it from me. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you in the next video.